live with little or no editing. It's Defense Up. I'm Run 7. How you doing? Today, we've got one of the biggest TCP defenses we've seen in a long time. Possibly the biggest. I can't remember, but we're at 74 million TCP. That's right. JediJohn is like the 26th biggest roster in the game, and he was gracious enough to let me look over these defenses. He has been in Masters for the most part, just recently dropped down into Diamond 3. And judging by his defense, we think that's because of the reshuffle in between seasons, honestly. Like, this is a killer defense, okay? We do want to make some changes, and we had a lengthy discussion with a lot of content creators and community assistance members and chat, of course. Lots of people in chat giving us some great advice for us. If you want your defense featured on Defense Up, links are in the description below. Find me on my Discord. You can get yourself on the list. We're currently about 2 or 3 weeks out. You just message me, I put you on the list, and then when it's your time, I message you again, you send me the pics, and we record this thing live on Twitch, which is where you need to be for all the action. The YouTube recaps or recycles don't show the behind-the-scenes discussions like what we just had live on Twitch, and it was a doozy. There was a lot of stuff to go over, and we had some great information going back and forth, so be sure to join us live on Twitch. Okay, I plugged myself enough. Here we go with JediJohn's defense. Now, team number 1 is the YA team. We really like this team because, one, it's huge. Look at all those red stars. Those girls are sexy, right? But it's not the best choice for the room. That's the problem. I love the YA team. I think they're fantastic. You're not going to use them on offense except maybe into an Infinity Watch. But even then, that's really inefficient. So you don't tend to use this team on offense, so throwing them in a room on defense is fantastic. And if you can use this team on defense in one of the more lackluster rooms, I say do it, because you're not losing anything by putting them on defense. If you're gonna use this team in room 1, we would like a placement change. We want Squirrel Girl anywhere but adjacent to Miss Marvel. Squirrel Girl's the linchpin of the team. Miss Marvel also really valuable. Hell, they're all pretty valuable. America Chavez a little better on war, but she still gives some great health benefits. All in all, though, let's get rid of this team. Let's go with Darkhold Quicksilver in 1. That was a long conversation to get Darkhold Quicksilver in 1, but we narrowed it down to most of us really like that team mostly, but it's a tough call, man. It's a tough call. Darkhold Quicksilver in 1 is probably the way to go, especially on JediJohn's roster. His Quicksilver is like, I don't know, 10 billion power or something ridiculous. Like, all of his tunes are just nuts, right? And so that fast Quicksilver can delete people on turn 1. That's what we like in room 1. This is pretty good, but the placement is off, and it's the inferior choice for room 1 with this defensive setup. So I'm going to give this a B+. But honestly, it's really not too shabby. Okay, team number 2 is the Bifrost in room 2. Everybody agrees this is the superior choice for room 2. It's just a matter of placement and power levels on this team. Now, Vol on Johnny's team is incredible, and that's why we want to put Vol in the middle. We want a very specific placement for these power levels. We want from left to right. We want OG Loki, then Beta Ray Bill, then Vol, then Sylvie, and Kid Loki. The reason we want Beta Ray Bill and Sylvie in the back row is because we want them between specific people, so the splash damage triggers the counter assist of specific people. Beta Ray Bill will be taunting, and so the splash damage coming off of him will hit OG Loki and Vol like it does now, but we're gonna flip those two characters, that's OG Loki and Vol, so that when they go into Sylvie, and Sylvie is the hot target on this team, you wanna delete her quickly. When you go into Sylvie, you're triggering the passive or the retaliation from Kid Loki and Vol. Vol putting out those exposed and just doing massive damage. Also, this Vol is 7 red stars, G18, just maxed out. This is a powerful character that can tank some of those hits. That's why we're putting Vol in the middle. If your Vol isn't this big, we may want to look at a lineup similar to what you're seeing here would probably be the way to go. Maybe even moving Sylvie into the corner, depending on her power level. But with what we're rocking here, we decided just swapping that OG Loki and Vol makes for a really tough team. By the way, as is, in this placement with 4 strikers and only 1 skirmisher, JediJohn is yet to be defeated in room 2. Speaking of ISO choices, we kind of like trying to make somebody else a raider so that you can squeeze out a little bit more value out of the ISO attack on Vol. We decided that Kid Loki is probably the best one to make a raider just for vulnerables, and Sylvie as a secondary choice because she is, doing AoE attacks with every turn, so she might be a better one to do as a raider as well. Dealer's choice, though, do as you please. I know ISO is real tight these days, so it's hard to experiment if you've already built something up. All in all, this is a really good team. The fact that it's undefeated proves that, but also in the power level. I mean, the power level is just, this is huge, man. Almost a 2 million Bifrost, so it's fantastic. I'm gonna go A- on this. It's really good, but a few tweaks would make it even better. Team number 3 is the Infinity Watch. We say this every time. Infinity Watch is probably the best choice in room 3, especially if they're as big or bigger than your Nowhere team. I don't really like Nowhere in there. I'm not having any trouble beating Nowhere with a leftover trash as the last matchup in my Crucible attacks. I've just kind of been throwing Eternals and junk at it and it goes away. It's not really a big deal. This one usually requires APOC to be efficient, and you're probably not going to be able to use APOC on this team because of room 2. You're probably going to need an APOC Death Seed to beat this, which means you're going to have that slugfest of Infinity Watch matchup, just taking away all your points. Again, 7 reds across the board. Of course, with Johnny being one of the 26th biggest roster in the game, probably most of his roster is maxed out at 7 red stars. That's the way it goes. We like this. Great ISOs, placement's fine, all that. We're going to go ahead and give it an A. Remember, if you want to take this to the next level, however, swap out Moondragon for Kestrel. Kestrel will be proccing her passive on the defense downs that happen in this room, and you'll get a lot more damage out of the team. Johnny's Kestrel, we found out, is something like 360 gajillion power level or something like ridiculous. So it's fine. We want Johnny to move Moondragon out of here and use Kestrel if Johnny doesn't plan on using like a Walking Hate comp. All right. Room number 4 is the Rebirth team. Again, this is the best version for this room. We really like it. We talked a lot about other choices for room 4. There are some really good choices, but we like, especially for Johnny, we like putting in the Rebirth team. So what we want to do is continue keeping Zemo in here, but we want to switch Zemo to a Skirmisher for the focus boost. He's not going to do a lot of healing. He's probably not going to get a second turn. So we really want him to land an ability block and kind of mess some things up. We also want Zemo to be adjacent to Cap America and get Winter Soldier in the middle there. That way, when Zemo dies, and Zemo will die pretty soon, it'll put Captain America on an island. And so, yeah. So placement tweak, ISO tweak. I'm going to go B+ on this team. Maybe even an A-. It's really good. Probably could use, Captain America could go to a Fortifier or Healer as well. That's another choice you can do, but doesn't have to. I like him as a Skirmisher. I think I'm running him as a Healer. Not a big deal, but yeah, you'll get more value out of Healer or Fortifier on Captain America. All right, room number 5 is the YA. It's a 5-piece. We don't like 5-piece unlimited X-Men, especially in room 5. Here's why. You're not getting any value out of the room as a 5-piece. Man, you can throw in any X-Men person, X-Men, whatever the plural of X-Men is. You can throw in anybody. You could throw in Phoenix, you could throw in Bishop, you could throw in Jubilee and Beast. You could do anything you want, and it's going to be better than this because you're going to get the same value out of the tags because of these room benefits. And you won't be able to use a Walking Hate comp on it. This will, like Johnny's going to go up against opponents who are probably going to be using that Walking Hate comp against it. The Walking Hate composition, by the way, is Cap, Sam, Shang-Chi, Kestrel, Dormammu, and Fury. And you go in there in a special way, and it just dismantles this team in a rather cool way. And so you won't be able to use that if you throw in Bishop in here. You won't be able to use that if you throw in Jubilee and Beast in here. It doesn't even matter the power level of your Phoenix. You can throw her in here. If she's big, she'll cleanse. If she's small, she'll go under 50%, and you'll get a reflexive taunt above Rogue, okay? So what we decided for Johnny is to not use this team on defense. I know, I just explained a lot that wasn't even going to be used, but it was a great conversation. That's why you guys need to show up on Twitch. We're going to save this team for offense. And we're gonna throw in probably the War Dogs in here instead. We'll treat it like a blank room, throw in the War Dogs. They're a speedy threat. Johnny's is something like 1.5 million or something, so it's nothing to laugh at. It's probably gonna pull maybe a Masters of Evil, maybe not, but you could get some efficiency out of it if they don't pull Masters of Evil. And of course, probably room 6 is gonna get the new Warriors called into it. So yeah, we're gonna pull this team. Keep it for offense since we're taking that Darkhold and throwing it in room 1. But if you're finding you can spare a good team for defense, then I say hybridize the Unlimited X-Men or pull them and use them for offense. So this is a really good version of the Unlimited X-Men, but it's the inferior version of the Unlimited X-Men we want to see in this room. So for that, I'm giving it a B+. An A would be using the War Dogs in here and keeping this team for offense. And, you know, everybody builds their War Dogs the same way because Scopely told us how. Room number 6 is Gamma. This was another hot topic. Do we use Gamma in 6? Do we use Gamma in 1? Do we go Gamma Dorm? Do we do Gamma Nova, Quicksilver, some kind of weird hybrid? Do we try something completely different? And the answer is it doesn't really matter. They're probably going to beat it with new Warriors. It doesn't matter if you use Dormammu in here. If you do, you're going to want Red Hulk and Dormammu in the back row with 3 people with Green Hulk, Brawn, and She-Hulk in the front row. However, we don't think that's going to make a big difference. It might be a little bit less efficient than a 5-piece Gamma, but we think no matter what, it's probably going to get a new Warriors called into it. And so we're thinking just use your Gamma on defense, and it doesn't really matter where you place them or what you do with them. They're just going to get beat. But you're not going to use them on offense, so put them in room 6. Put anybody you can spare with them if you want to try and mix it up, but a 5-piece Gamma is probably going to be almost as good as anything else you throw in here, and you may want that Dormammu for offense. You may want that Quicksilver, or if you're not going to use them with the Darkhold team, you may want those pieces, so just throw a 5-piece Gamma in room 6, like Johnny has done. However, I just now noticed, and we completely missed this during the discussion, there are 5 strikers and no one putting out any vulnerables. That is an absolute travesty. I like Red Hulk as a Raider. I like Green Hulk as a healer or striker. I like Abomination as a Raider 100%. I think Brawn could be a striker, a healer, or even a skirmisher. And I think She-Hulk could be a skirmisher or healer. Mix and match as you please. But man, 5 strikers, that's a waste of ISO. I'm giving this one an A- for sure. Okay, that was Jedi Johnny's defense. We had a ton of fun going over this one. I really like this one. So thank you, Johnny, for sending me these picks. Again, if you guys want your defense featured, just find me on Discord. Remember, guys, don't just have a good game. Be good to yourselves and others too, and I'll see you next time. Bye.